any event, to me, this makes much more sense than simply assuming that the Egyptians were a bunch of superstitious idiots who put all of this incredible amount of attention into preserving the body of a dead pharaoh.
The physical body of the pharaoh was rendered timeless, perhaps turned into an open gate, or perhaps a type of anchor. It was heavily supplied with all manner of spells, amulets, talismans, and other forms of magical protection. The strange practice of mummification still holds many mysteries. Why were some organs carefully preserved while the brain was scooped out and discarded? An unexpected insight into this question can be found in the work of Dr. Rick Strassman. His pioneering work has raised some very important questions about the pineal gland and its interaction with a strange hallucinogenic chemical known as DMT. Could the interaction of these two components be the seat of consciousness? Could it in fact be the gate through which we enter and leave each new life?
With a vertical third eye right in the middle of his forehead. With that eye, he can see things. He has a clairvoyance. When his eye opens, it also radiates a lot of energy through that eye. And then when that is opened up, then everything becomes clear. And then, of course, the universe is yours. Because then you are able to communicate with everyone else, because then you are in par with the cosmic frequency.
Third eye that is located in the middle of the forehead, generally right between the two eyes. And that is a center of spiritual power.
And acts as a hyperdimensional gateway. It is a functioning stargate within your brain.
Part of the endocrine system, the pineal gland is no larger than a grain of rice and is shaped like a pine cone. Though it is located deep in the center of the brain, between the two hemispheres, it appears to share some characteristics with the human eye.
The function of the pineal gland is mainly to release a hormone called melatonin, which controls the sleep-wake cycles. So because it's light sensitive, it's sometimes called the third eye.
That tries to cover up the biological records of what the man who has hue, or human, people of color, what your true biological potentials are. Eye of Horus, as it is defined in the pyramid text, and the Eye of Horus as it is defined in the coffin text. The pyramid text, or the text of ancient Egypt, dating from the time of the Old Kingdom, 3000 BC to about 2200 BC, or roughly almost 5,000 years ago. The coffin text, or the Middle Kingdom text, roughly about 2200 to about 1800 or so BC. That's the middle period. So these are the religious texts in which we find that Africans had talked about melanin under the heading of the word Kim, K-M. What does Kim mean? It means black. And as Carol Bourne in this book did make known, that the study of chemistry, study of Chem black, is really the study of blackness. In particular, the study of organic chemistry. The study of those chemicals that contain large amounts of the atom known as carbon, C-A-R-B-O-N. Carbon, the same atom that makes up diamond earrings, diamond rings, crystalline form, but in its more liquid form, it is blackness. The graphite on your pencil? What about the blackness on your skin? The black in your coloring of your eyes? The black in your brain, yes, melanin in the core of the brain. The biological record of blackness as it operates in biological systems from before birth, from conception, all the way through the gestation in the mother's womb and the birth thereafter. We can show blackness in every life stage. But yet, the great lie continues that blackness is a sign of being inferior. Blackness, or melanin, the chemical that is responsible for black pigmentation, is a sign of being second-rate, of being dirty, of being more like an animal, of being not as advanced as those people who have golden hair and light skin. And that is the biggest lie that was ever put up. It is a lie that goes against life itself. I could take right now today any member of the most racist organization, and I could dissect them this minute and show huge amounts of melanin in the core of their brain, in the lining of their eye, in the neurons, cell junctions in their inner ear, in their skin in places, in their heart, lungs, kidneys, any organ of their body, and I can say, now tell me what you were saying about blackness. You want to call them being an inferiority, you could not even be conceived without melanin. No way. So again, those are in Black Dots Part 1, 2, and 3. The examples of it is that there's melanin present in your mother's egg and the father's spermatozoa. And when these two cells meet, the egg is fertilized by the spermatozoa, and the DNA from both cells join together. Where is our dear friend melanin? It is present in the outer layer of his fertilized egg. So the outer layer of the fertilized egg, or zygote, or what you call a blastula stage, later a gastrula stage, or the ectoderm, is black. Contains black pigment. And this is true of not only blacks, Asians, and browns. It's true of mammals, higher primates, advanced mammals, lower mammals, amphibians, reptiles, birds, fish. Any animal that has a backbone has the same pattern. And why is that the case? Because melanin is God's felt point pen. What do we mean by that? That melanin is a neurotoxic agent. What is neurotoxic? Toxic, to develop lines of growth, neurons. Melanin sets up electromagnetic gradients or lines of force by which, as the cells develop, they migrate along these lines, just as you might have a blueprint, and station themselves along the lines of these electromagnetic fields. So melanin is the blueprint drawer in any living animal that has a backbone. Going further, this outer layer of cells invaginates and becomes a tube. And the end of that tube balloons out and becomes, guess what? Brain. The tube is the spinal column. The ball at the other end becomes the brain. All this are occurring from melanated ectoderm, from a fertilized ovum by a spermatozoa. There have been pigment cell conferences held every 2 to 4 years, starting in the late 1940s, in which scientists from around the world, in particular South Africa, they had a ready supply of black bodies to do their horrible fiendish work. But we notice that the research does not fit the political agenda. So when you go through these research journals, you have to be aware that people are writing in ways that they will try to pull information out. But then you as a black person have a responsibility to make it applicable to your people. They will not, for example, tell you that yes, there are hormonal differences in black people as compared to white. They will not tell you that black folks tend to have lower white blood cell counts because of a difference in the level of the secretion of adrenal steroids. That will not be mentioned. They will not talk about the differences that occur in terms of other hormones. That will not be discussed. in elaborate detail at all. But going further, we find that these various glands that are pictured in the pineal, pictured in the entire human body, and their black origins, they have formed a system called the 8-foot cell series, standing for those cells that have the same properties because they all originate from the same original site. These cells are called the amine precursor uptake decarboxylase. What does all that mean? That all of these cell types have the same common feature. They all have an enzyme that can break off carbon atoms. What is a carbon atom? The atom that makes up melanin. So they have the ability to shape and mold the melanin molecule, and those molecules are chemical children of melanin. So that's a very, very important feature. But notice, again, Africans talked very heavily about chem. They spoke about what? When you speak about going into the study of melanin, and in particular you pay attention to the study of the pineal gland, what is the pineal gland? The pineal gland is a gland present in all humans. And again, most animals with the backbone. This is a gland that's present right in the center of the head. It is known as the third eye. It is a gland that's referred to in the East Indian literature as the third eye. But Africans called it what? They called it the eye of Horus. That Africans had studied the science of the mind so strong and so sweet that they had not only discovered the location of the soul, but the neurochemistry of the soul and its relationship to blackness. So now we get way beyond Sigmund Freud, way beyond Cortinelli, way beyond Russell Ritter. Now we're coming on back home to a study of the African true science of neuropharmacology without all this fanfare and cover-up. So going further, we find these kind of things. We find that the pineal gland, again, was the name of the eye of Peru. We find that in the pyramid text and coffin text, over 100 references to the eye of Peru. It says that the eye of Peru is present in the forehead, and it rises up as thy father Ra, the sun, passes overhead. Meaning what? Something in the forehead is turned on by the sun. That was 3,333 years before Axelrod and Workman rediscovered the pineal gland was an active gland, producing a unique enzyme called HIOMT. But notice further, it said that at the pineal, that there were blue eyes, green eyes, and red eyes, and black eyes of Peru. And that it was possible to rise, and that the mission was to rise up with your eye of Peru to the heavens and to become a star. Not a Hollywood star on Hollywood Boulevard. That's not the star they're talking about. But a star in terms of the cosmos. We find furthermore that the pineal gland is a gland that produces two major hormones. One during daylight, another one during nighttime. During daytime, a hormone known as serotonin is released. Serotonin has many important powers. One of its powers is also involved. There are many very important neurotransmitters that are related to serotonin that are involved in states of depression and normal affect. But the hormone that we're going to talk about today is the hormone known as melatonin. M-E-L-A-T-O-N-I-N. Melatonin. Now this, my brothers and sisters, is a powerful, powerful black hormone.